probably most people listening to this believe they are equipping their children. But I would say, are you building the kind of relationship with them where they can talk to you about anything, where they know that you love them regardless of the bad news they give you? And if they're not able to wrestle with their faith with you, then you might have more of a religious home than a relationship home. I think one of the things that is kind of flying on the internet wires right now is, are we in unprecedented times or are we not? And so one of the things we talk about in the first area of that ebook is, kind of some proof, I think, of why we actually are in unprecedented times. And I believe one of my jobs in life is to wake people up, really good people, intentional people, godly people that say, hey, intentional parenting, yes, but it has to be better than previous generations, even if they did a great job. There's different threats coming through technology that it's so important. The world has changed. The accelerating change is happening, and we're not to fear these things, but we are to respond to them, and we need to pay attention in a more concerted way to some things than any previous generations, even if they were great at it.
Yeah. I agree completely. I have told my girls so many times, man, I wish we could go back to the 80s and 90s when I was growing up in 70s. I mean, I was born in 74. So going back to those years where it just seemed like things were so much simpler. My temptation as a kid was 17 magazine. I remember that was the thing. And I got a subscription to it one time. And I think I realized pretty quickly that as a Christian teenager, that was not the magazine I should be reading. And so but that was I would look at that and I would think, oh man, I'm not as pretty as this girl, or I'm not dating and all these girls are dating, or I don't, have this kind of social, life, whatever, what it looked like in the magazines. Well, now with social media, I mean, that is like a million times on steroids and coming at our kids from every direction. And so I agree with you. I think we are definitely in unprecedented times. The things that our kids are facing today are like no other time in history. And we're seeing the effects of it, because not just the stuff that is coming into their minds, but the addictions to their phones, social media, all the things. It's hard. It's hard to be a kid nowadays. I feel sorry for them. I do wish that we could go back. But the Lord has us here, just like Esther, right? For such a time as this.
Yes.
And I know He's got our kids here for this time as well. Walk us through, what are some ways that we as parents can really help our kids to thrive in their childhood and going into adulthood?
I think equipping is the word, and I think it's obvious, right? Everybody's, of course, and probably most people listening to this believe they are equipping their children. But I would say, are you building the kind of relationship with them where they can talk to you about anything, where they know that you love them regardless of the bad news they give you? And if they're not able to wrestle with their faith with you, and and whether they believe in God or not, for example, then you might have more of a religious home than a relationship home. And it's really important that we have a relationship home. Jesus was all about relationship. He walked with the disciples, he trained them and equipped them. And that's the other piece, is that discipleship. So many families have delegated the discipleship of their children to their churches. And I love the church. I'm a pastor. I'm part of a church, that we planted a couple months ago. But it's I think a detriment. I think what happens is, once we delegate something, it becomes, okay, they've got it, and we're less intentional about something, especially in an area where we don't have confidence, where we're like, well, I'm not an expert in the Bible, but they are over there. Are you kidding me? They're using a program over there and reading it to kids, and the people that have the most influence in the lives of children are their parents. So let's just say over there is better.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you could read one proverb to your children and have a discussion is better because of your influence than that great thing over there. It has more power and influence, and you want their hearts in the teenage years. And if you're going to have their hearts in the teenage years, you need to so well before that. It's never too late. There's always opportunity to do that, even if you're just starting now and it's already the teenage years. There's ways to do that. But man, so discipleship is key. Relationship is key.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.